Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Money, Real Business podcast. I'm Lauren, and today we have Ray on the show, who's selling a display advertising and Amazon Associates business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. Hey Ray, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. Really looking forward to hearing more about you and your business. But before we dive in, I'm going to give the listeners a brief summary of it. This is a display advertising and Amazon Associates business. It was created in June 2017 in the outdoors and automotive niches. The average revenue for the business is $7,130 per month, and it makes an average of $7,042 per month in net profit. The assets included with the business are a primary domain and all site content and files, secondary domains, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest social media accounts and pages, an email list with 4,267 subscribers, as well as a keyword list. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 61453 to learn more about this business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. So Ray, let's hear from you now. Can you fill us in on your background in starting and running online businesses?
Sure. Well, it goes back to 2005, which is when I discovered WordPress. And prior to that, I had been using, your typical HTML type site builders, front page and Dreamweaver, but I got hooked on WordPress. And probably within a few weeks, I had built my first WordPress website. It was in a business niche, talking about business, which is what I love. And it saw a little bit of success that year. 15 cents one night was fantastic. And I ended up, I think about a year after that, selling that site on Flippa. But then there was a dry spell. I didn't see success again with online publishing until about 2012, where I built a site in the same niche that the current site I'm selling is in. And that site did very well and sold that one as well. And after that non-compete was over, I started the site that I have now and built that one to what it is today. So this site is my biggest success, but boy, have I learned a tremendous amount over the last 5 or 6 years as far as online publishing is concerned. Also, in addition to the website, I do have another e-commerce business. So I've been online for quite some time. It's not my full-time stuff. I do this between raising a family and having a full-time job. So it's a lot of work, but it's well worth it.
Wow, that's fantastic. I mean, you say you started playing around with WordPress in 2005. That's almost 20 years ago. Definitely a veteran in the industry. Had a lot of ups and downs as well.
Too many to count.
Yeah, I'm sure. So what attracted you to the display advertising business model?
I think what attracted me to display advertising was I had success at the very beginning with AdSense. That's all I knew. And I tend to write more informational type articles than I do articles with commercial intent. So that just lends itself better to display advertising. And what really then moved the needle with me was when I went from AdSense to Ezoic, and then from Ezoic to AdThrive, where I realized that there's so many more keywords around information, at least in the niche that I'm in, and just made it easier. Now, having said that, I do write affiliate type posts, and the site that I'm selling, they're actually doing very well. I think I get like a 9 to 10% conversion rate with the articles that I do write. They're all linked to Amazon, which has a lot of products, for my readers. It works well, but I normally, like I said, focus on just informational content, which is great for display ads.
Yeah, certainly. And what attracted you to writing in this niche in particular?
Well, a couple of things. One, I'd had success with it before, so that made it, easy to choose it again. But it's a niche that I'm interested in that, we own some of the stuff that I write about. I mean, it's a niche that I've been interested in ever since I was a kid. So it made it easy just to write about this one. But then after I dug deep into the niche, the amount of available low competition keywords that I could write for, it was clear right there that there was just a ton of them. So those three things, that's something I was interested in. I had success, and the availability of many, many low competition keywords that I could rank for. Those three things made me decide to go into this niche.
Fantastic. Yeah, that always helps. So it certainly sounds like you've got a passion for this business. What is the reason that you're selling the business now?
I'll put it as simple as that, Burnout. I have written over 95%, close to 95% of the articles on the website. There's about 200 of them. And I'm just worn out. I just need something new. I've written about this for so long, and I want to do some different things. Content marketing is great. Having a content website is good, but I'm looking to start some new projects with some SaaS that'll work with the audience, or at least the same niche that I was in. Now that I know it really well, I want to move into something a little bit different.
Well, it certainly sounds like you've got some exciting times ahead of you exploring the world of SaaS. So all the best of luck with that.
Thank you.
Looking back over your journey with this website, what would you say was your biggest win since starting the business?
I've had a few. I think the biggest one was definitely ranking early on. I think probably within a couple of months of creating the site for a term that had a good search volume, where I was able to beat the actual manufacturer of this thing that I was writing about. So that worked really well, because that gave the website a lot of momentum and gave me a lot of motivation as well, because I knew, okay, I'm on the right track with how I'm doing things. And in addition, another big win was I was featured in ARP magazine and another magazine that I can't tell you because it'll reveal the niche. But ARP, I got a huge link from them back to the site. And the magazine actually printed a 2-page spread on one of the articles that I had written, and I redid it for them with more photos and stuff like that. So I think those were great, because it gave the site legitimacy in the eyes of readers out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And a great validation of the work that you did. Outranking the manufacturer must have been a great feeling.
Yeah, it was. I've done it a couple of times with others as well, so it's pretty cool.
Awesome stuff. On the flip side of the coin, I'm sure not everything went according to plan. What was your biggest setback or challenge?
Boy, I tell you, Amazon algorithms always mess me up, and they shouldn't, because it always bounces back. But it's like I've stopped watching and keeping track of Google algorithms, because they tend to sometimes have a negative effect, and you start to worry. And it's great, because my wife tells me, just let it sit. Don't worry, you got content. It'll come back, and it always does. So that's been a challenge, trying to stay away from that so that I can remain focused. But one of the bigger challenges, and one of the reasons why I think I'm burnt out, is because it's hard to find good writers for the niche that I'm in. It's one of those niches that if you're not in it, your reader is going to know that you're fake. So you have to find good writers. And I found a few that I use every once in a while, but just being able, if I did this full time, I wouldn't have a problem, because I can write 4 or 5 articles a day and it'd be perfect. But just finding some good writers has been a challenge. And I think that's to my inexperience vetting writers, because I'm always going to like the typical writing mills, and they're not always good there. So that's been a bit of a challenge. The other has been just trying to stay on top of all the new stuff that comes out. I subscribe to 3 industry magazines in the niche. So there's always something new, and the niche itself, it has exploded over the last several years, and sales of, the niche products that I talk about just keep going up. So that's been sort of a challenge, just staying on top. And simply because, like I said, I have a full-time job and I'm raising a family. So it makes it a little bit of a challenge. But sometimes you just have to grin and bear it. And, you do that and things will work out fine.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, as you say, the industry has grown, which is fantastic, but it does create a lot of extra work for you to stay on top of all of that.
Yeah.
You mentioned that algorithms can certainly mess with you sometimes. Following on from that, where does the majority of your traffic come from?
Google organic traffic. I'd say that's a good 85-90% of my traffic. I get some direct traffic as well, because I do put out a newsletter once every couple of weeks or so. And I get some traffic from that, not a lot. That's simply because I don't think I'm that good at writing newsletters, so that's something that somebody who's good at that can definitely improve. But yeah, it's organic search traffic. I tried Facebook ads, several years ago, and that was a total failure because that's not good traffic. You just get a lot of tire kickers, they don't engage with the articles. And again, that could be due also to my ads not being the best optimized. I gave up on Facebook ads. Recently, I checked a lot of my statistics, and I don't get a lot of traffic from Pinterest or Instagram. So I double down on just content because that's where the bulk, and I really mean the bulk of the traffic comes from.
When it comes to your organic traffic, do you invest much time in on-page SEO or backlinks?
A lot on on-page SEO, zero on backlinks. I don't go chasing backlinks. All the links that are on the site are all natural links. I prefer on-page SEO and interlinking within the site. That's all I've ever done. I'm not good at going out and getting links. I just create good content and people link to it.
Yeah. And do you do all of your SEO yourself, or do you get any agencies to help you out with that?
No, I do it all myself. After being in this industry for so long, I kind of figured out the formula that works for me.
Yeah, you've certainly got the experience to be able to do that yourself. Keeping in mind everything we've discussed, what would you say are the major opportunities for growth with this business?
Well, I think two of them. One is obviously more content. I only have 200 articles on the site, yet I have a keyword list of another 150 keywords, all low competition, ready to be written. A site like this, earning what it does with 200 articles is great. Doubling articles, tripling articles, I think it's going to earn a lot more, way more. So that's one. And I also think that I haven't fully dug deep into Amazon affiliate. They have a ton of products that can be written about for this niche. And I think I only have about 15 articles that are affiliate related on the entire site. Yet this past month just made $400, which may not seem like a lot, but when you've got 15 articles doing that kind of money a month, that's not bad. And that increases during the Christmas season. So more affiliate articles, actually getting your hands on actual products and reviewing those and making some of that content unique, that also helps. It's interesting that a lot of the articles that I've written as far as affiliates is concerned, and sending links to Amazon are on products that I've never touched, but I've researched a lot. So when the algorithm back in December happened, as far as reviews, it really had no effect on my articles that were affiliate related. So I think that's a huge opportunity just to get more affiliate articles and getting your hands on products and stuff like that. I think that'll be great. That's a big opportunity.
Yeah, that's a great opportunity. Absolutely. It certainly sounds like high quality content is your key focus. Can you walk us through what your content creation process looks like?
Yeah, I mean, it's high quality content and low competition keywords, right? So, the way that I do it, once I've found a keyword that I want to write for, I pull in related topics. I've got so many tools. I use Phrase, I use Topic with an ad drive, which is my display ad network, and a few other tools. So I get a good idea of the main keyword and all the other topics that I'm either going to insert into that article or create additional articles that'll link back to it. So like a topic cluster. And what I look at is the first 3 or 4 sites that are ranking for that keyword. And I take a look at what they're doing. Is it a list? Usually where I'm ranking it is a list type post, like a roundup post. And I try to make it better than theirs. And if I do like a best of, I'm including photos, I'm including videos, I'm including tables. Tables are always good. And I think that's why I get linked to quite a bit, is because I create tables with these details on what it is that I'm talking about, and usually provide even more information than the manufacturers themselves, like stuff that normally you'll find in forums with actual users of the product or the vehicle in this case, and include that in these charts. So it's very thorough. I don't write fluff. It's very concise. It's really informational. It's formal to some extent, with the occasional informal being thrown in depending on the topic. And then I run everything through rank math within the WordPress itself, and I use Grammarly as well. So yeah, that's essentially it. To be honest, Lauren, I try to keep things simple, very simple. Just give the reader what they want, and then go above and beyond so that other bloggers will find it useful as well and link to it.
Yeah, exactly. As you said there, give the reader what they want, keep the audience in mind first and foremost. I think that's definitely seems to be the key to success. How often do you add new content to the site?
About 3 times a month. The velocity of content at the beginning was higher than that. I was adding probably about 3 to 4 articles a week. And then the goal was to reach about 200 articles and then slow down the pace to where I'm only doing about 3 a month, but then focus more on optimization of existing articles. And I meant to say that also that's another opportunity because I've got a lot of articles that are ranking below 5 and on the second page. And I've been working on getting those optimized so that they can rank higher, especially now, when you've got, if the article's over, 8 to 12 months old, you can see where it's ranking, what it's ranking for. So that gives you a better opportunity and a better window into how to optimize it so that it ranks higher. So it's about 3 to 4 articles a month and about 3 to 4 articles of optimization a month as well. That's how I'm splitting it because that's all the time I have. So if I had more time, I'd be optimizing more, probably 6 or 7 a month, and then writing about probably 6 or 7 as well a month.
Yeah, thank you for giving us that insight. That's really great. So you said you were writing a lot more with the goal of reaching 200. Was that to build up your authority so that you could scale back on the writing without it affecting the site's performance?
Precisely. Yeah, that was it.
Okay, fantastic. You said that simplicity is your goal. What does a typical work week look like for you when running this business?
Usually it involves one, checking traffic, make sure that everything's steady as she goes. And that doesn't take much. Optimizing, keyword research, and writing. So I probably spend in the time that I usually have is best in the morning. So I'm up around 5:30 in the morning. I'm writing in the mornings, adding a paragraph here or there to an article that I'm writing, and then definitely keeping track of my rankings. I don't keep track of every keyword that I rank for, but I do keep track of some major keywords. I get a lot of traffic. One in particular gets 165,000 searches a month, give or take, because these tools are not all accurate. But that's a keyword that I've been chasing now for a good 4 or 5 months. Just landed on page 1 on number 5 this week. So those are the kind of things that I'm after. I know that I'll rank for the smaller keywords, but it's these few, it's probably about 30 of them that I keep track of all the time just to see if there's any tweaking that I have to do, if there's anything if somebody's come in and taking my spot, which happens. So I keep an eye out on that. And then the rest is just keyword research. I'm always looking for opportunities to find keywords that I know that I can rank. When it comes to my site, I know from experience that there's like a window of keywords that I know that I can rank for like immediately. And they have a particular criteria as far as the number of searches per month and where they sit as far as keyword difficulty and the number of other sites with a particular type of domain authority. So I can look at that really quick in the service that I use, and it's not uncommon for me to write an article. Sometimes within minutes, I'm on first page, which is weird
Wow.
because I hear people, oh my God, I wrote an article and I've not ranked. But I've seen it happen quite a bit where I'll write the article and I'm on the first page. 2 days later, I'm like past 100 position. And then a few days later, I'm back higher. That's another common thing that I'm seeing with a lot of the keywords that I'm chasing is that they show up really close near the top, then they disappear, and then they come back stronger. So that part right there is exciting because I can pick a keyword based on the criteria that I use, and I know that I'm going to rank for it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's every content site owner's dream. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and it comes with experience. I mean, you really got to know your site. And I'm deep into the analytics of this site, and I've been able to figure that out with the help from, there's some resources out there that have pointed that out, and I learned from that. So, yeah, I try not to chase anything. I try not to write about anything that I know I'm not going to rank for really fast. At some point, I do chase a keyword that I know I'm not going to rank for right away, like the one that gets 160,000 searches a month. But there's a reason I do that is because I'm going to write, a long article, 2,500, 3,000 words, and I want it to marinate and just sit there because there's enough topics that I can write smaller articles that I can rank for easier keywords, but those articles will point to that big article. And that's how I did that one. I wrote that keyword article. I knew I wasn't going to rank for a while, but there was so many other smaller keywords that I could rank for that I knew that at some point, sending all that juice from those smaller articles to that big one would help. And it did.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. Having that core pillar piece, as you say, that everything points back to, that's definitely a very strong strategy to go with. You mentioned that you write about 95% of the content yourself. How often are you outsourcing to writers, and where are you finding your writers?
Right now, I have one writer that happened to be a friend of my wife's. I asked her if she wanted to learn how to write SEO, optimized articles for this niche of mine, and she said yes. So I give her maybe an article every couple of months because she's busy. She's a single mom, so she doesn't always have time to write. But I use her because I've taught her exactly how I want things. I've tried the other route with the content mills, and that hasn't always turned out good. So I don't use them anymore. The other place where I do get articles is sponsored posts. An outreach email. Hey, can I write an article on your site? Blah, 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 blah. The typical spiel. First of all, I don't charge for a sponsored post, but I do require extremely well written content because to me that's more important than, the few dollars you can make with a sponsored post from these people. So I give them very strict guidelines on the subject, how the article should be broken down. Sometimes they'll suggest a topic, so I research the topic a little bit and give them more information. But I get one or twice a month from those. Some of them are really, really well written articles. So I'm not opposed to, giving somebody a link as long as I'm getting good content on my site. I'm not concerned about making, a couple of $100. I don't want to do that. I don't want to screw up my site. If Google finds out that people are giving me articles and paying me to have them on the site, I'd rather keep it clean.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to protect the integrity of your site, especially a site with such high quality content on it. Now we've given the listeners a good overview of your business and everything that's involved. What would you say the biggest challenge will be for a buyer when taking over this business?
The biggest challenge for anyone taking over this business is figuring out how to be authentic, that you're not just another blogger who has absolutely no idea about the niche and are sending articles to these content mills or whomever to write for you. You have to have some legitimacy in the niche. And my EAT is really good because I own what I write about. I have another business, an e-commerce business that's in the same space, not content, but it's an e-commerce site. So that by itself gives me a lot of expertise and authority in the niche and trustworthiness as well. So that I think is a challenge for someone who's buying this. It'd be great if they are already in the industry or if they can get into it fairly quickly. That's going to help them tremendously. But I think that's going to be a challenge. If you're going to sell watermelons, it's better if you're a farmer, who grows them and knows all about them. It's just the same thing here.
Yeah, that's a good point. As you say, you use that experience to write the articles. So not having the experience would certainly make that a lot more difficult. With that in mind, how much support are you willing to offer buyers to help ease the transition of the sale of this business?
Actually, I think I said I would do 4 1-hour calls. I'm not exactly sure. I put it there in the listing, but I might have said 6 months or something of email support. I don't want anybody to buy this site that's not going to succeed with it. There's a inherent benefit to me to help them succeed and help them with the transition as much as needed, because even though I'm selling the site, the readers are still important to me. And the reason being, I'm still in the industry. I'm not disappearing from the industry, right? So there's an inherent value to me to make sure that whoever gets the site understands it, knows what to do, and gets all the support they need to make sure the transition goes as smooth as possible. So I think what I wrote in the listing was, like I said, 4 1-hour calls, but I'm flexible. Like I said, I just want to help whoever wants to buy it and they're legitimate and they really want to continue to grow it. I'm there. And I say that because the last site that I sold in the same niche didn't go as well. And it didn't go well for the buyer because he did certain things that he wasn't supposed to or that he committed to. So I don't want that to happen again. 4 years of my sweat and tears into this site and spend a few sleepless nights with some of those Google algorithms. So whoever gets it to be so ecstatic that they love the site and that they continue to buy from Empire Flippers because they got a great, revenue stream. And the same thing on mine. If I make it easy for them, it's going to allow me to move in the direction that I want to. And everybody's going to be happy.
That's fantastic. I think that's going to be a huge help for buyers and very reassuring for them as well. When it comes to negotiating the actual sale, would you be open to something like an earnout agreement?
Yep, absolutely. It would have to be very specific, well written, and penalties if they don't abide by the terms. Like I said, I got burnt on the last one to some extent. And I'll give you a quick overview of what the last one was. It was a site I sold. We agreed on a certain valuation with an upfront amount, and then I would get X amount of the revenue that was coming from the site afterwards for a period of like 3 years. Well, I didn't write that agreement really well, and the content that was being put on the site was awful. It wasn't well written, it was just bad. So the site actually started to lose money over the course of those 3 years. So I don't want to do that again. If we do an earnout, and like I said, I'm open to it, it would just have to be very well written and with clear expectations, across the board.
Yeah, certainly. That definitely sounds fair. And would you commit to a non-compete agreement?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, I
wonderful.
have no intentions of building another site in this niche, simply because I want to move into a niche in the travel, just plain travel niche, where I'm able to hire writers easier so they can do a lot of the work, especially specific location-based writers, which is what I'm after. So I think that'll be different. And I don't want to write for this anymore. I'm burnt out. So.
Yeah, it's time to move into something a bit more hands off. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly right. More hands off because I know the keywords, I know how to search for them, I know what I need. I just need somebody to write, so a good writer. And what I want to move into, in addition to the SaaS, is that type of work.
Yeah, absolutely. For any aspiring entrepreneurs who are listening who have sites of their own, you mentioned that there are different software tools and resources that helped you do your keyword research and optimize your site. Is there anything that comes to mind that you would recommend to our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't use Ahrefs other than the free version. I think for a new blogger or even an existing blogger, the tool is expensive and it gives you some insight, but it isn't anything that you can't get out of Google Search Console. So as far as keyword research, I use two things. I use keysearch.co, which is a great tool. It's inexpensive, and I find that it's on par with, most of the other keyword research tools. Definitely use that. And I also use rankiq.com. And again, that one is great because they give you keywords that are, low competition keywords. So that's always good. For writing, I use Phrase. That is my go-to for my writing. And it's so easy to use. Just put in your keyword and it gives you so much information as to how long your content should be, words, what topic words you should put in there, how many images you should have. I mean, it's really good. And that's helped me tremendously, not just writing new content, but also optimizing old content.
Yeah, thank you for that. Certainly, I do recognize a couple of those names and they're fantastic tools. So they'll definitely help our listeners out with that. Ray, that leads us to the final question of the interview and probably the most important one, which is if you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think your business is a business worth buying?
A couple of things. One is that this is an established site. This site didn't pop up a year ago and all of a sudden it's got all this traffic. It's been around for 4. So it's a well-established site with a very good domain. It's in a niche that's growing. So there is many opportunities for new content. I've not even touched on brand sponsorships, which is something that a new owner can do. And the affiliate part has tremendous earning potential. So those 4 things right there, to me, is something that it's worth buying. It's not a fad. This is not a niche that's going to disappear tomorrow. It's been around for 40, 50 years, and it will be around for a lot more than that. There are new players continuously coming in as far as the manufacturers and stuff. And again, sales have gone through the roof over the last couple of years and are continuing to be strong, as well as the pre-owned market of this niche as well. So I think to me, the biggest thing is really essentially, I won't say it's totally hands off, but it can be. You're not shipping products, you're not dealing with vendors and supplies and all that other stuff. So if I were in a buyer's shoes, those are the things I'd look for. And this business fits the bill just right.
Well said. Absolutely. It certainly sounds like a business with a lot of potential. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our listeners that I might have missed?
No, I think we've covered everything. boy, I don't know how to say this, but I want this business to go to the right person. I'd be so disappointed if whoever buys it doesn't take it to the next level. And they absolutely can. And I'd love to see that. Nothing would make me happier than to come back in several years and go, wow, this has become huge because this person who bought it understands it, was willing to become part of the niche itself, and was able to relate to the visitors and the readers and, go above and beyond what I've been able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. You've certainly built a solid foundation for them to build on and set them up for the best chance of success by the sounds of it. Well, thank you, Ray, for coming on to the show and giving us a little bit more insight into you and your business and your content creation process. It's certainly been very insightful. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day.
Well, thank you, Lauren, for having me. And anybody has any questions, they can go through you and you can get to me, or they can get on that listing and take a look at it and unlock it and ask questions through that. I'd be more than happy to answer anything that they have. I'm very transparent when it comes to this business, and I'd love to help in any way I can.
Wonderful. Well, thanks again, Ray. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 61453. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.